Hello, math students. Welcome back to our module called Percents and Proportional Relationships. This lesson is lesson 10, and it is called Mark Up and Mark Down Problems. Our goal for today we will practice mark up and mark down problems. The question that I want you to be thinking about during this lesson is, how does a markup change the original price? All right, so the first thing that we need to do is mark up and mark down problems deal with how does the original price change due to it being increased in price and due to it having a decrease in price. And you guys have been working with percent increase and percent decrease, and now we're going to talk about how you apply that. So some important things to know are the vocabulary words that go along with this. And so what I like to look at and remember is that a markup is the amount of increase in price. So you have a price, you multiply it by a percent, and then you that amount that you add to the price from your percent would be the markup. Okay? The mark down is the amount of decrease in the price. So if you are marking something down, then the amount that you're going to subtract off is the mark down, okay? The original price is the starting price, also called cost or wholesale price. And the original price is what we manipulate. The original price is what we multiply by a percent, and then that is the amount once you multiply it by the percent is either the markup or the mark down. The selling price is taking the original price, right, and adding the markup price or subtracting the markdown price. So it's the original price plus the markup or minus the markdown. And then you have the markup and markdown rate. And what a markup or markdown rate is it's the amount used to change the price. And usually what we know about the markup or markdown rate is that they come in the form of a percent, okay? So this word right here, what I want you to think about is it's usually in these types of problems in the form of a percent, okay? So just to give you a little insight to these problems is that you have to remember that stores have to make a profit. And the way that they make a profit is by charging you money to buy their products. But one thing that you have to remember about stores is that stores have to get their products from somewhere. And so usually what they're doing is they buy the products that they want to sell from a warehouse. And in the warehouse, they usually sell the items for what it costs to make them. So the store buys the product for what it costs. Then it brings it to its own building and it multiplies the original price by a certain percent. And from that percent, they get the amount that they want to mark up, and they add that to the cost of the item, and that's what they sell it to you for, okay? So an example of this is think about shoe stores. Foot Locker, for example. They have a pair of high-top basketball shoes that you want to buy, and let's say they buy them from the warehouse for $30. Then they bring them back to their store and they take 30 times, let's say, 75%. And when they take 30 times 75%, it would look like this. So you have 30 was the original price times 75%, which is the same thing as 75 over 100, right? And then they multiply that straight across and you get 75 times 30, which is 0, 0, 15, 2, 2, add those together, and then that number, 2250, is divided by 100, so we're taking 2250, dividing it by 100, and it goes in there, 2, and then 2, and then bring down your decimal point 2 times, and you get 2250. So 2250 is the markup price, okay? 2250 is the markup price. So then they take the $30 that they originally bought them for. So the original price was $30, right? Then the markup price is the $22.50, and they have to add those two together. So when they take $22.50 plus $30, they're going to sell them to you, the buyer, for $52.50. So that is the selling price. Okay, so $22.50 was the markup, $30 is the original price, and then when you add them together, that is your new selling price. Okay, so those are called a markup. And then we would say that the markup rate for this problem, this is the markup rate right here, because it was 75%. Okay, so that's what we're learning today about markups and markdowns. All right, and so you need to know the vocabulary that goes along with it. All right, so we have a try this problem. It says a necklace costs $20 to make. Then Frederick's Jewelers buys it for that cost. The jewelry store puts the sales price as $70. What is the markup rate? What is the markup amount? Okay, so we know that the original cost of the necklace was $20. We know the sales price of the necklace is $70. What is the markup rate and what is the markup amount? So what you have to do to figure out this problem is, let's list what we know. So we know the original price was $20, right? We know that the selling price is $70, right? And then it says that we need to figure out what the markup rate was. So we're looking for the percent. And then we're also looking for the actual amount. Okay? So the best way that I would suggest trying to figure this problem out is to remember our formula of quantity equals percent times whole. And we know that the original price is your whole, so we know that's $20. We don't know the quantity, and we don't know the percent, and we don't know the quantity yet, but what we do know is the selling price. So one thing that I like to do to help me with this is use that double number line that I taught you about. And since I know 100% right here, and I know that 100% was 20, I now have to figure out what percent 70 was. Okay, so I have to ask myself, how did I get from 20 to 70? So in order to do that, all you have to do is take 70 divided by 20, and I know that that goes in there 3 times, which is 60, right? And that leaves me 10. And I know that if I use a decimal and bring that down, then I know that that is 5. So now I know that it's 3.5. So I multiplied 20 by 3.5. So what you have to do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I'm going to take 100% times 3.5, and I get 0.05, placeholder 0.03, and then I'm going to add those together, and I do that. And so that says that this is 350% bigger. Okay, so that's a pretty huge markup. Now, here's the problem. This right here is the percentage for the selling price, right? So let's go back to this. 20 was the original price. 70 is the selling price. What we need to find out is the markup percent, right? And what that amount would be. So we have to know what the percent is that we marked it up by, okay? So what we're trying to figure out is, how did we get from 100 to 350? So I would subtract off the amount that you already know, and we would know then that if you take 350%, which is the sales price, and we subtract off the original price, then we know that the markup is 250. So we would know that somewhere around in here is 250%, right? And then we have to figure out what that amount is. And so if you take 20 times 250, right, because 20 was our whole, and we're now saying that 250 was the percent. So if we take 20 over 1 times 250 over 100, then we would get 250 times 20, 0, 0, 0, placeholder, 0, 10, 5. Add those together, and you get 5,000. So this would be 5,000 divided by 100 gives us 5,000 divided by 100 gives me 50, right? So that would be 50. So 250% is 50, and then if you notice, 20 plus 50 equals 70. And so that would be your markup rate is $250, and the markup amount is $50, which makes sense because you started out with 20 as being your original times 250% equals 50, and then if you take 20 plus 50, you get 70, which is the selling price. Okay? So it's kind of an interesting way to figure things out that are missing, but what we need to remember is that this right here is your markup rate, and then this would be the actual markup amount that we had to add to it. Because if you go back up here to the markup, it says the amount of increase in price. So it was $20, we increased it by $50, and now it's $70 to sell it. Okay? So just a quick review of how we started and figured this out. Our original price was 20, which is 100. Our selling price was 70. We had to figure out what that percent was. And the way we figured out that percent is we had to figure out how did you go from 20 to 70. We multiplied it by 3.5. We took 3.5 and we multiplied it by 100%, and we got 350%, which is the selling price. Then you had to take 350 minus the whole, or the original price, and got 250, and then we plugged that into our equation, which is 250% times the original price gave us a markup price of 50, and then we added that together, and that's how we found all of the parts that we needed to have to be successful with this problem. Okay? All right, so it's really not difficult. You just have to remember all the steps. I would definitely remember how to use a double number line because that came in very handy, and go slow. So our goal for today we will practice markup and markdown problems. How does a markup change the original price? A markup changes the original price by making it larger. A markdown changes the original price by making it smaller or making it less. Okay? All right, kiddos, that's all I have for you today. Talk to you soon. Bye.